Alright, it's been way too long since I've done a real proper Luckin Coffee challenge. The last one I was kind of disappointed with. My footage didn't come out like I'd planned, there wasn't very much to see or say, and my hair just looked awful. So to make it up to you guys, this is a special Luckin challenge. Today we're going to a Tier 3 Luckin. A Chaoshan Luckin. Chaoshan is the place that's famous for the duck shit tea. You know, it's a special type of danzhong, like a yellow tea. It's really, that's a story for another day. But it doesn't matter, because we're not going to a tea shop. We're going to a coffee shop. Luckin Coffee. Yeah, you already knew that. I don't know why I added that. This is the kind of place where the older generation is so fixed in their way of life that when I asked if they wanted to try some coffee, they responded like when you ask a toddler if they want to try some broccoli. Well, guess it's just me, my girlfriend who won't let me film her siblings, and her sister's son. So, how popular is Luckin Coffee here? Let's go see. Side note, this is totally unrelated, but I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what happens after the order number gets past $9.99. We talked about it, everyone wanted to know, does it start over at 1? Does it start over at 100? Does it go to 1,000? And I just never noticed. But one random day, when I wasn't filming, I stopped at a nearby Luckin to grab a coffee and I was number 4. I glanced down at the counter, sure enough, there was a $9.99 and a 001. Well, that answers that question in a very anticlimactic way. So anyway, my thought here was, let's go out and show everyone what the city's like. We can walk through all the cool tiny streets and you can see the village where my anime girlfriend grew up. But then, as usual, rain! That's Guangdong for ya. And at first I thought, well, no worries, it'll make for some cooler B-roll. Until it started raining harder and... No, I'm kidding, this is footage from a completely different day, but you get the idea of how hard it can rain here. Well, the plan was to walk to Luckin, but now it's pouring, so we are driving to Luckin. Yeah. It's funny, I've been in Shenzhen for so long at this point that the idea of driving up to and parking at a Luckin Coffee seems so weird. And it's not even a Neo I'm driving in. It's a Lame-o, also known as a Honda. Lame. Well, I guess you can see some Tier 3 rain. Looks a lot like Tier 1 rain, but more tears? Get it? Because rain's like tears? Is it funny? I never thought I'd have to park to go to Luckin Coffee. Okay, it's not that weird. Although being able to park right out front makes me feel like I'm in the States again. Again, similar to the suburbs in the States, there's a lot more room for people to do just whatever they want with their space. So this place was actually kinda huge, even though it was still considered a pickup location. That's pretty funny that this is pickup, this is relax. Okay. The shop was pretty empty, but not really surprising considering the weather. The deliveries, however, were constant. Delivery guys constantly crossing each other's paths. Also, something so dope about this city is that people drive motorcycles, like real motorcycles. The lame gas-powered mopeds are more and more popular just because they're easier to drive, but still, so many people drive this one type of motorcycle. Literally, there's like 40 companies that make the same model of the same one type of motorcycle. Seeing a delivery guy on a motorcycle instead of one of those dinky scooters is fun for some reason. Anyway, back to Luckin. I got a double anaerobic fermented and honey processed Yunnan bean latte for everyone to try. And a Hokkaido cantaloupe velvety smooth latte. Before we taste, you should know, I'm the only one here who drinks coffee. Everyone else was rather reluctant to try it. Oh yeah, and also they speak a dialect of Chinese here called Chaoshan Hua, or like the Chaoshan language. It's also called the Teochew dialect. Not really sure why though, because in their language they call it Dioshuawe, or Dioshuat language. She switched to Mandarin for my sake. my 潮汕话 is not very good. In fact, I made a song about it on Chinese TikTok. Sorry, that video got like no views, so I wanted to show it off. Shameless plug to an app that you guys can't even use since the Chinese and world version of the app are separated. Now, as long as we're on the shameless plug train, I may as well ask you to subscribe too. Subscribe, baby.
这个都很淡，咖啡都没有很苦。
I love how that's always what people here use to describe that it's not bad. Wow, it's not bad. It's not very bitter. Next. Next. So we have not very bitter and no flavor. Great so far.
比较喜欢这个，因为有水果味。
There's something. By the way, sorry about being way too close. I bought way too much film stuff here, and I didn't want to also bring a bunch of lenses, so I picked one that I thought would be right for the job, and it was not right for the job. But look at that nice, sharp focus and blurry background. Sure looks nice, doesn't it? But I won't be doing it again. Right, he's actually right. 没什么味道. There isn't a lot of coffee flavor on this one. It's like very milky. The other one, I don't even know how to. It's like if literally it tastes like if you were to buy a cantaloupe and just put a chunk of cantaloupe in your coffee. That's this. It's cantaloupe coffee. It's honeydew, dingus. Needless to say, don't do it. It's not very good. It's okay. Overall, rather disappointed. At first I thought they were being rather close-minded about trying the coffee, but after tasting it myself, I think their answers were actually spot on. I don't know if it was the location or how they made it, but it just didn't taste right. It was almost like there was a drop of coffee in a pool of milk. I think something went wrong. As for the shop itself, it felt kind of franchisey. Like it had a very personal touch that made it seem like it was owned by a person rather than a corporation. That sort of feel where some things have that hand-drawn charm, and other things felt like they should have just hired a professional. Overall, though, it did have a nice feel to it. The number of orders actually really surprised me. We went over to a milk tea store nearby to see how many orders they were getting in comparison. It seemed relatively close, with Luckin coming out slightly ahead. One thing I found rather interesting here is that in this area of China, people are very proud of their culture. Tons of people here either don't speak Mandarin at all, or speak it with a very strong accent and prefer not to use it. Yet the store requires the employees to speak Mandarin. Personally, I would really appreciate it if the franchise owners had the freedom to style their place after their own culture, including speaking their own dialect. But I guess they're going for more of the standardized, this is Luckin Coffee no matter where you are feel. I can understand that. I still feel like it's a missed opportunity though. When is somebody gonna create a coffee shop that doesn't copy the Western template and instead goes for a Chinese style? That would definitely become my new favorite coffee shop. I still believe in you, Luckin. But for now, I leave you with this statement. 家己人，我家就算人，老外在玩。